you.
Good morning, Chairman Mendonça, Vice Chairman Richard, and board members. I'm Barbara Rooney. I'm the Deputy Director of Legislation here at the Authority and assisting today with the CEO response with our CEO, Brian Kelly. We're going to begin with a 6-month audit response. As you know, the state auditor issued her report in November 2018. The report identified a number of issues primarily relating to contract management and documenting decisions. We did submit our 60-day response to the auditor in January, and we are now in the process of preparing our 6-month response, which is due on May 15th, 2019. I'm pleased to convey that we have made significant progress in implementing the auditor's recommendations. We have strengthened our processes, made staffing adjustments, updated our policies and procedures, and provided training to supervisors and managers and contract managers. I have also directed a broader office-by-office review of the functionality of state and contract positions to ensure that we have proper alignment of state and contract staff to functionality throughout the organization. While the auditor pointed out some concerns here in functions like contract management, budget, and accounting, I think a broader review is warranted to ensure that the organization's form meets function. I have asked for this review to be completed by the end of this fiscal year so we can prepare any necessary budget adjustments by fiscal year 2021. We've been working closely with the state auditor in implementing the recommendations, and I want to express my appreciation and respect for her and her staff's professionalism and willingness to work collaboratively with us as we address these important organizational issues. Next, the project update report. On May 1st, 2019, we will be submitting to the legislature our project update report for this year, also known as PUR. Typically, the PUR is a simple update on project status that statutorily requires us to cover broad project updates, including milestones reached over the preceding 2 years, program issues requiring our attention, and specific risks that must be managed. In years past, the project update report has not come before the board as either an informational item or an action item. This year's report is different. It is primarily different because this year's report will address specific issues we raised in the 2018 business plan and committed to updating in the 2019 project update report. Specifically, the PUR will report on the following. The first item, our early train operator, or ETO's, analysis of interim service options that we deemed worthy of consideration in the 2018 business plan in both the Central Valley and the Peninsula in Northern California. I can tell you now that the ETO's review confirms that the direction the authority has been pursuing to construct a valley-to-valley service connecting the Central Valley with the Silicon Valley remains the highest value operating segment for authority-run service. However, just as the authority and the FRA have been discussing since 2013, if the valley-to-valley service faces funding or other challenges that could delay its completion, it is worthwhile to consider earlier interim services to ensure the assets built in the Central Valley with federal and state funds can provide independent utility for rail service and demonstrate the benefits of high-speed rail in California. Toward that end, the project update report will discuss 4 options the ETO looked at in the Central Valley and describe the rationale for its conclusion that the best option for early service in the Valley is the Merced-Fresno-Bakersfield segment. Number 2, the project update report will also include the ETO's review of our capital costs contained in the 2018 business plan. I'm happy to report that the ETO suggests there are opportunities for cost savings on the vital structures, bridges, viaducts, tunnels that make up our system. The report will discuss the recommendations the ETO made in this regard and the actions we will take to implement those recommendations going forward. I anticipate this work will help us further refine our cost estimates for the entirety of the Phase 1 system as we develop the 2020 business plan, now due in just 10 short months. And third, the project update report will also summarize the results of the work we've been doing since the adoption of the 2018 business plan to apply enhanced Monte Carlo risk analysis to those estimates and further refine and update scope and cost to complete the work in the Central Valley. On the funding side, the project update report will take a slightly different tack than we did in the 2018 business plan. In that plan, we estimated available revenues assuming an extension of the cap-and-trade program until 2050 and additional statutory authority to ensure we could finance against those revenues. We recognize that the legislature just extended the cap-and-trade program until 2030 with the enactment of AB 398 in 2017. We heard loud and clear the challenges associated with our suggestion that it should be extended another 20 years now. Rather than assume more funding from another extension at this time, the PER identifies the considerable amount of funding available to this program through 2030 and proposes how best to utilize the funding we expect to have over the next decade. In summary, the work performed by the ETO on early service options, the updated risk-based cost analysis, and the realistic funding assumptions combine to form the basis of management's recommendation to pursue an early interim service in the Central Valley, working closely with our regional operating partners, Altamont Corridor Express, ACE, and the San Joaquin Intercity Service, while we continue to prepare the valley-to-valley service for construction as additional funding becomes available. Of course, we also propose to complete the environmental work statewide and maintain our commitment to complete the bookend projects in the Silicon Valley and the Los Angeles Basin. This approach will enable the vital economic benefits in the Central Valley to expand while we prepare to demonstrate the environmental and mobility benefits of a high-speed rail service with the funding we reasonably expect to have between now and 2030. The PER is due to the legislature on May 1st. Staff will be reaching out to you all to offer detailed, individualized briefings on the report beginning next week. Board members, I believe the best way to restore credibility to this program and agency is to improve our project delivery, which we are poised to do. Make sure we keep our commitments and do exactly what we say we're going to do. We made commitments in the 2018 business plan to our regional partners and to our federal partner. We also made commitments to the legislature and the public regarding the analyses and work we would perform since the adoption of the 2018 business plan to provide important program updates in this project update report. That is exactly what we have done. I look forward to briefing you all in greater detail on this important document and engaging policymakers on the direction of this program. Next, a quick update on the Federal Railroad Administration. On March 4th, we submitted 2 letters to the FRA challenging its intended action to deobligate $929 million in FY10 federal funding for this project. To date, we have received no response to our March 4th letter. While the FRA has disengaged on the environmental review process, we are moving forward with state approvals for CEQA purposes and continue to prepare work for FRA approval when and if it re-engages. And finally, it is with truly mixed emotions that I report to you the departure of Doug Drotes from the authority. Doug has worked here for 7 years now, primarily as the dedicated staff liaison to the board. He has done outstanding work to make sure we prepare for and execute these board meetings, and I must say those tasks will be much harder in his absence. Doug has been presented with an excellent opportunity. He will become the head of government affairs for the city of West Sacramento, and I am certain he will do great work in this new role. I have truly enjoyed working with Doug. In addition to being a fine employee, Doug is a good man with an excellent sense of humor and an increasingly rare ability to write well. I'm going to miss Doug, and I ask you all to join me in wishing him the very best in his next endeavor.
I learned a lot of things on this project, and a lot of things from the board especially. One thing I learned from our past chairman was brevity is key. So I will just say thank you for this wonderful opportunity. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will continue to be a strong advocate for high-speed rail throughout my career. So thank you.
Very good.